Yeah.
How close were you to splitting up, or having time off?
I'd say we were split up for at least
we were split up
weeks.
for a little while.
Would that have been the end of friendships as well, or
No, it just
is the friendship always bigger than the band? Do you think?
Yeah, I mean, people are definitely more important than a band.
Yeah, there was never a point in time where we said, "F you, I'm going home." It was more like we need to not play music and we need to focus on each other, and and that was what happened. Like, we went home from Warped Tour, and when we were on Warped Tour, we decided, like, look, like, this isn't where we need to be. Like, yeah, there's kids that are coming to shows, and these shows are amazing, but we need to make sure that the six of us are okay with each other before we go out and, like, do this big thing.
Yeah, and with ourselves, like, you like, whether you like it or not, when you're up on stage, you're in a role model leadership type position, and if you're going to be true to what you're preaching, not to sound cliche, but you need to be, legit about it. And that was the thing with us. Like, with that point where we were with each other and with ourselves, we weren't in the right spot to be up there, saying what we were saying, do what we were doing. We need to go home and fix that. And
when did you kind of know that it was all right again? So conversation.
There was definitely a couple of group talks. We took like a couple, definitely one major, just like forget business, music, anything, just dudes hang out like for a day and stuff, and like we did a lot of praying, and like we kind of had these meetings where we just put everything on the table, like everything. Like the big thing that I know with our band that almost caused us to break up is that we weren't open, honest, and like I think a lot of bands go through that, where like someone will do something, and instead of confronting them about it, you say something to somebody else, and then it just kind of builds and builds and builds and becomes this huge thing where no one confronts anyone ever until it's this like almost hatred for it, And so I know with us, that was the biggest thing that like crushed our band at that point, and it was cool to be able to talk and just like it didn't matter about the band. Like, it was always like, oh, I can't say this because what happens to the band. It was like, it doesn't matter anymore. This is what's up. This is how I feel. This is what I think about that. I think about you and this. And it was cool. It was definitely like cool to get see where everyone was really at and everyone's perspective, and just start, like, I don't want to say start anew, but like friendships kind of just rekindled. You know what I mean? It was like there was no judgments. It was just a flat plane.
Past is past.
Yeah, exactly. So,
do you still like have talks now, and is it like if
yeah,
there's a problem we'll bring it up straight away?
Yeah, I don't think that. And I think a big thing too is once we got to that point, like we kind of, I don't want to say, like, we've grown up being in a band with each other, and it's like I think that we know each other better than anybody else for the most part, and it's not so much like when you come, like the older you get, I like to think that you become more mature, and like when someone tells you something, it's not to like bring you down, but it's to point out so they can bring you up. And I think that's a big thing. Yeah, like nowadays, like we're definitely more on the plane of like knowing where each other stands at all times and stuff, and just being open with how we feel.
Yeah, but I also whenever this topic gets brought up, I always try to relate to people in a way of like, it's kind of like being married. Like, it's awesome and it's great, but it takes work. Like with any friendship, it's like, we're six dudes and we're together pretty much all the time, and there's days when it's awesome and there's days when it's not as awesome. Like, I can't say there's a whole lot of days where you're just like, oh my gosh, we can't stand this, because we're just not those guys. But it definitely takes work, and it's not something that does itself. You have to put work into it, and you have to keep friendships going. And I think that's the same way with any relationship you have. No matter if it's a friendship or
I think a big thing too is how you react and act yourself. And I think that like that's a big thing. I've noticed, like myself, it's just like a lot of times in those situations, it's from being like selfish and just like being pissy about dumb things and holding grudges, whatever. And it's like, if you work on that yourself and just being like, obviously it's not a big deal, it's nothing that catastrophic or anything, the other dudes around you can't help but see that, and you know it impacts them, and they in turn react the same way over time. So it's like, yeah, I think that us working with each other and ourselves has just kind of made it like where we've like, I'm not saying we have it down like by any means, like there's still issues and stuff, but at the same time like
manageable type.
We're definitely like sailing a lot smoother.
Yeah.
I've got some fans questions.